So the Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. We see right off the bat that he saw himself in a dream in that first little paragraph. And this place, the setting is the Slough of Despond, which if you look at the footnote, of hopelessness, of despair. So imagine a bog. You're on this journey. He's trying to get to this celestial city. This Christian is trying to get to the celestial city, and he gets stuck in this, I'm kind of envisioning quicksand, or you've probably been out in a muddy yard or field where, have you ever walked and your shoe comes off because it's so, oh, that's a mess, you know? And so imagine getting stuck in there. And this is just an area that has accumulated this over time. And think about this as a symbol of things, because we talk about it being very symbolic. Yes, you can look at it as a journey. Some guy gets stuck, somebody pulls him out, and he goes on his way and can't find steps and that type of thing. But symbolically, it has a lot stronger meaning, and I think it's a story much easier to follow, because this person is going on a journey. His soul needs to go there, and I think everybody, no matter what faith you have, feel like your life is a journey to some other reward. Again, I'm not a theologian, so I don't know all of the other, religions and what's in the goal. But I think from what I've seen in movies, a lot of people want to drive for something, and their choices here dictate what happens. And sometimes people struggle. Sometimes people struggle with faith, temptation, a lot of different things, whether I should or shouldn't. Should I do this? It'd make me happy, but it'd be bad. That type of thing. The golden rule, all of that stuff. Should I follow it or not? And so this particular person gets stuck. And this individual named Pliable shows up to Christian, and he asks, why are you here? Why are you stuck? And Christian goes, I don't know. I don't know. And that really upsets Pliable, who that term means being very flexible, being able to bend, being very, I can change and do what I need to do to survive. That type of being pliable and flexible. And so we see this play out here, where he's really upset, because if you think about this as more of a sermon or preachy as to how you live your life, when you're stuck, when you're just spinning your tires, you're not getting any traction, that's a problem. And you're never going to be able to go forward if you can't identify your problem. Have you ever heard that, acceptance or acknowledgement of a problem is the first sign in order to fix it? Okay, in movies, I'm sure you've all seen people go to AA or Alcoholics Anonymous or some drug treatment thing, and their first step towards recovery is admitting that they have a what? A problem, right? And so here, why are you stuck? Why aren't you moving? I don't know. Well, that's a problem, because how are you going to get back on the road? How are you going to figure out what needs to happen in order to get to the end zone? Okay, get to this celestial city that they were talking about. And so Pliable gets out, he's stuck, he gets out and goes away and leaves the man there alone. If he had a better answer, maybe Pliable would have helped him out. Who knows? But it isn't until as we see a character named Help show up, and Help helps the man out. He gets him pushed forward. Why are you here? Why, you need to look for the steps it talked about. It says that Christian couldn't get out. He couldn't get out because of the burden that was upon his back. Does that mean he's carrying a whole big knapsack of stuff and he's just weighted down like a big military guy on a 20-yard run? Maybe if you're looking at this as one of those, just a journey. But if you're looking at this symbolically, somebody's despondent, stuck, not moving, not happy, they're burdened more emotionally, right? They're burdened on their back, they're carrying. Have you ever heard weight on the shoulder? Okay, they're just pushed down and hunched down. So, ooh, boy, if things are better, boy, that was a big weight off my back. Very similar here. And so look at it symbolically for that. So Help promises, down there towards the bottom, he says, but why did you not look for the steps? The steps to the city, the steps to avoid this. The steps of your faith is what they're saying. Because there's a certain book pertaining to the Christian faith that if you follow certain parameters, certain rules, certain commandments, since this is of that Christian faith, Puritan faith, that it is helping you to that point. Well, why didn't you follow it? He doesn't say, but maybe I lost my way. Maybe I was never brought up in this particular religion. There are all these excuses. So there's a book, there's a belief system. I think most religions have books, or at least they have belief systems, that you follow the path, you do what you're supposed to do, and you find enlightenment, you find the celestial city, whichever it is. And so look for the steps, look for the steps. So help draws him out, helps him out, and they have this conversation about a king. Well, who's the king, do we think? Who's his majesty? Can we figure out if this is all symbolic? It's his kingdom? God. God. And that's what they're talking about there. What makes the Slough of Despond? So why don't they fix this land? Why doesn't the king fix this land? Why doesn't this bog ever dry up? Why do people keep getting stuck? Why do people keep having despair? Why are people always despondent? And this place just accumulates all of this misery of individuals. Millions of wholesome instructions have been at seasons been brought from all places of the king's dominions, and yet despond still is here. And so it's one of those things that there's just too much of it. Not enough people are finding the light, finding their way. Too many people are getting stuck. Too many people are going the opposite direction to the closest gate, which is probably not the gate to the celestial city, to heaven, but the gate to, I think we can figure out where. Okay? And so really this is from a large, bigger work. So if you're ever interested in it, it's been parodied. There have been movies. It talked about the evangelist set him on the way. The evangelist, the religious individual said, this is where you need to go, and so I'm going. There was a movie in the 70s where Liam Neeson was actually the evangelist. There was a Family Guy parody that I researched and found out where it's called Peter's Progress. So you can almost imagine what that would have been like. And I'm kind of interested to go back and check that out and see what the similarities, because I'm sure if it's a parody, like their Star Wars parodies are right on. So I imagine that their parody of Pilgrim's Progress, Peter's Progress, was pretty interesting as well. The very last thing we want to talk about says that the promises of forgiveness and acceptance to life by faith in Christ, he talks about there being substantial steps placed even through the very midst of the slough. So there are steps, and as it says in the next couple lines, it says that these steps are hardly seen. They may be hard to find because you are so lost, you are so stuck, figuratively and maybe even literally. Okay? And so they are hard to find, but look for them, find the steps, and that will get you on your journey ultimately. So just in these 2 short pages, and again, this is just a snippet of a larger story, we see the allegory, okay, the lessons to be learned, learn from mistakes, learn how to get your life on track, all right, and look for help when help is offered, and be flexible and all of that.